They say as we're on our road to that 96K a year, how much time, energy, and effort do you want to put in yourself versus finding someone that's a really good operator that's super effective at property management, maybe flipping houses or whatever it is. You can do a joint venture, and most joint ventures are actually that borderline. They really are a securities offering because you've got 2 or 3 people that are cash only. They're not doing the physical work. And the SEC gets involved and says, okay, that's a securities right there. You're not doing a thing, and you're reaping reward.
Thanks for joining us on another REI-NWA podcast. This is podcast number 14, and I'm your host, Coley Bailey. I'm a broker and team leader at the Lone Rock team at Fathom Realty. And today, we're going to be talking with Mr. Wes Fikes.
How are you, brother?
Man, doing well.
Good
doing
deal.
well. Glad to have you in studio today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. So you have been tasked with coming up with 3 ways to $96,000 in passive income yearly. And so this is a talk that's coming up as our main meeting for December. It's going to be on December 21st. And so we're going to get into that, but first I want to know a little bit about you, where you grew up, what your career has been like, and how you got to where you are now.
Sure. Grew up in Michigan, kind of a poor kid, abusive situation. It was not that good. Spent a lot of summers in Arkansas over on the east side, Marmaduke, Paragould area. Graduated high school and got away from the crazies because of the environment and moved to California. Which is where I met the Lord, met my wife, and my father-in-law introduced me to real estate. So I was working for Pepsi-Cola Company for 10 years, and he convinced me, thankfully, to understand the concept of real estate, which is kind of how I got my journey started. His whole concept was just buy 10 rent houses by age 35, have them paid off at age 65. What a wonderful retirement. If each house is $100,000 and they're all paid off by somebody else, that's $1 million worth of real estate. Can you put it in the stock market? Maybe you're going to get 4.5%, 45,000. Uncle Sam's going to tax it. He says, son, what if you just keep your 10 rent houses and each one's maybe making $800 a month? It's $8,000 a month. That's $96K a year.
Yep.
So I caught the vision, and that's what got me started. And Dad was fortunate, right? He said, teaching a class next week to get your real estate license. Why don't you get your license? Maybe you can, use your commission for some down payment or closing costs, fix it up or something. And that was it. I left the company after 10 years and jumped into real estate.
So what year was that?
That was in 1999.
Okay.
I've been at it for a while.
All right. So 99, you jumped in and did you just immediately get your 10 houses, or what was that process
so that
like?
was the goal. That was the dream. We were on our way. In California, it's a little more difficult because of the size of the down payments and such. We bought our first property. We wanted to have it first one acquired. 6 months in the bank, before leaving the security of a real W-2 job, and we began that trek. And then somewhere in there, we saw the market peaking, and we began to do 1031 exchanges. I called an uncle, he called me from Conway, Arkansas.
Okay, yeah.
And so I hopped on a plane. I said, man, I'll be there in 2 weeks. I want to know what you've got down there. So we started doing 1031 exchanges. You sell 1, you buy 3. You sell 1, you buy 5. And it was it's just an exchanging of equity for cash flow.
Right.
And so in terms of the 3 ways to 96K.
So you got started in Arkansas in Conway? Is that right?
Actually, that was our first, we'd acquired a couple of duplexes and then 15 units, and we just kept going.
Okay, yeah, because I was renting in Conway 2003 to 2007 because I was at UCA at that time. So,
very good.
Yep.
Very good. That's amazing. Yeah, so that journey is, and as I look back and reflect on my 20-some-odd years of investing, I wish my father-in-law would have said, don't buy 10, buy 100. Mm-hmm. Don't buy 100, buy 1,000, right? It's that 10X mentality of whatever you think or you're dreaming of, 10X it and do double.
Yeah.
We stopped shy. That's, I suppose, one of the regrets is we didn't buy more. That's the regret for everybody, right?
Right.
I should have bought more. But reflecting back, I am writing a book. That's where that comes from. Is what would I have done differently over my 20 some odd years?
Right.
not just 10 rental properties by age 35, right? You could do the same thing if you're Mr. Ironman and you want to really get aggressive. You could buy 40 houses. Average mortgage about $2,000 a month, or maybe $1,600. If you're at $2,000, your PITI, your principal, interest, taxes, insurance is going to be about $1,600, maybe a couple $100 for expenses and such. So your true net about $200 in pocket. You would need 40 of those to make that same $8,000 a month, $96K a year. The other way to do that, what we've ventured into, is to invest in syndicated offerings.
Now, before we get into that, this is the part of the episode you guys are really going to want to pay attention to, and we're going to get to that right after this word from our sponsor. Are you struggling with real estate code compliance? Let Ordinal, your AI navigator, simplify it for you. Receive clear answers to your nuanced compliance questions in seconds, with citations included. Currently, the Ordinal beta version specializes in the Northwest Arkansas cities of Bentonville, Fayetteville, Springdale, and Rogers. Join the beta version now and get your first month free using the promo code REI. After that, it's just $12 a month. Visit breakground.ai/Ordinal or click the link in the description below. Start incorporating AI into your real estate workflows today with Ordinal. Okay, all right. Wes, I'm gonna try to get you to spill the beans on syndications.
Sure.
A lot of people don't even know what that word means,
right?
So we need to define it.
Sure.
Secondly, once we know what it is, I want to know why it's so important, specifically for investors in terms of protecting themselves legally.
Sure. So there's a couple of things. They say as we're on our road to that 96K a year, how much time, energy, and effort do you want to put in yourself? Versus finding someone that's a really good operator that's super effective at property management, maybe flipping houses or whatever it is. You can do a joint venture, and most joint ventures are actually that borderline. They really are a securities offering because you've got 2 or 3 people that are cash only.
Yep.
They're not doing the physical work. And the SEC gets involved and says, okay, that's a securities right there. You're not doing a thing, and you're reaping reward. So in order to avoid, the SEC's crosshairs, there's an exemption, which is a 506, which is a Regulation D offering. Okay. So you need to do the proper paperwork, get an SEC attorney that allows that you to be out of it. And a syndication is, if we wanted to go buy a $50 million apartment complex, I probably can't take it down by myself. So I'm going to call you up, and me, you, and a couple of other buddies that are great operators are going to syndicate a deal. We're going to come together and give us some scale by pooling money, enabling us to take down a larger asset. So what that typically breaks down to is you have some general partners. They're going to run the deal. They're the operators or the syndicator. They're using the Regulation D, and it could be a 506B or a 506C. Get to those in a minute, or maybe on December 21st meeting. Yep. We can.
Yeah, we're gonna have an hour or more. They might keep you there longer. Just be prepared.
That's fine. But that's how you would pool people together and get scale.
Yeah.
So you can have 80 houses. Man, it's a lot of work.
Right.
You've got a property management company at that point.
Yeah.
Was that what you set out to do, or was it just to have some retirement?
Mm-hmm.
How much is your time, energy, and effort worth, right? So when we found syndicated offerings, we started looking for great operators. And so that third way to get to 96K a year is to simply place $1.2 million at 8% interest, cash on cash with a great operator.
Yeah.
That's also 96K a year in tax advantaged income. You still get the same tax benefits. You still get the same growth and appreciation. It's just somebody else is doing all the work rather than you getting the phone calls and the other stuff.
Yeah, so you still get to benefit from hopefully appreciation in the market, but you get to count depreciation
100%
off the asset. Mm-hmm. You get cash flow, hopefully, if you got a good operator, and you're getting equity buy down if you've got any leverage on it too.
Right. So. Yeah, all those benefits, all those wonderful benefits of real estate. It's just you're pulling together with more people. You're getting scale. You're still getting your passive income.
Yeah. And those are things you can't get in the stock market.
100%.
Right.
The other part of that too, people.
You could get some appreciation, and you could get dividends.
Yeah.
So kind of cash flow and appreciation, but you don't get to count the depreciation.
Yes.
And, you can buy, I don't know, 5 times the real estate that you have in cash that you bring in,
Right.
in your syndication if you're leveraged, and it's a lot safer to leverage real estate than stocks.
100%. I will say this. So one of the things we looked at is our cash on cash positions. So if you take a look at maybe you have a portfolio of single family homes, average home generating $2,400 to $3,600 a year in your pocket that you can. It just takes one tenant, right, to wipe all that cash flow out.
Right.
Had some folks just move out. They just $6,000 wood floors damaged, right?
Oh.
There goes a couple of years of profit.
Yeah.
If you take $100,000 of equity, right? Anybody that bought a couple of years ago, they've got at least got $100,000 of equity in a property. If you sell that property, move it into not 1031 into a syndication. It's difficult. Has to be a much larger property. But by moving it into a syndicated offering, if you're getting a true 8% cash on cash with $100,000, that's $8,000 a year.
Yeah.
So you're taking, right, me doing all the work, energy, and effort with a single family house just because I want control of it.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give up a little bit of control with great operators and double, almost triple my cash flow. So that's why we've moved into the syndication space.
Okay, fantastic.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into that again at our main meeting on December 21st, 2023. It's going to be 5:30, doors open. It'll be $20 at the door or free if you are an REI member. We don't know the location yet. We are switching main meeting locations, and as of the time of this recording, we don't know where it's going to be. But if you keep up to date on our social media pages, like you should be, or you just watch your email if you're on the newsletter, you'll know at that time. So,
Very good.
how can people get in touch with you and follow what you're doing?
I would say it used to be at North 40 Realty, but I've kind of pushed the real estate stuff aside, as well as my own consumption. I would say go to passiveassetinvestors.com. That's probably the best way to contact me. Is what we're doing in this day and age is just bringing friends along with us who also are looking for that passive investment. So they can go to passiveassetinvestors.com and reach out to me there, or I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me at Wesley Fikes on LinkedIn. Pretty active on there.
Fantastic.
Cool.
All right, man. Thank you so much for coming in.
My pleasure.
I'm really looking forward to your talk too.
That's awesome.
So, all right, and so just to recap, the topic is 3 ways to 96K with passive income, and today we talked about buying houses and getting them to cash flow. It was 10 houses, $800 a month rent.
Kind of a retirement plan is how I started out. Or at least that was the vision.
Okay.
10 rent houses by age 35, paid off at age 65, free and clear. They're going to keep pace with inflation.
Yep.
Second way, if you want to get really aggressive, is to buy 40 of those properties with $200 per door net in your pocket. That's 200 times 40. That's your $8,000 a month. That's also $96K a year.
And so that doesn't matter if they're paid off. That's
right.
including having a mortgage on all of them.
You really got to scale and get aggressive.
Okay.
The other way, if you're further down your career, maybe you've got a bunch of properties already, you're an accredited investor and you can get into syndicated offerings, you can simply place $1.2 million at 8% cash on cash. That's simple math with a great operator. That's $96K a year.
All right. Well, we'll get into more of that at the main meeting.
Great.
Thanks for coming in, man.
100%.
So good to see you.
Take care. Thanks.
All right. We'll catch you on the next one.